Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler. Hit that subscribe button. Join the show here every single weekday where we bring you all kinds of news, interviews, and discussions. And right now we've got news about entertainment because it's time for real news. And we are joined by our own Rick Marshall for this segment to keep us up to date with what's going on in the world of entertainment. Hello, Rick. And I guess what we start off with every single week is what's going on with theaters.
Yeah, this feels like a recurring theme here, and it's probably going to be the case for a while now. The latest is that Warner Brothers finally decided to just take Tenet, the Christopher Nolan film, that originally they were intending to sort of, usher in the reopening of theaters everywhere. They decided to take it off the calendar entirely and sort of wait to see what's going to happen with theaters. They kept pushing it back and pushing it back and pushing it back, and Christopher Nolan has insisted that he does not want to see this go streaming, so that will likely never happen. But right now, we have no idea when we're going to see it. So that's sort of where that film stands. And that was a really big one to sort of be taken off the calendar and may end up causing sort of a domino effect with some of the other films after it.
Yeah, because this was supposed to be the big blockbuster, like you said, that brings everything back. But just to get your opinion on this, because I didn't realize this before all this was going down, but Christopher Nolan has a real vehement opposition to streaming. Is that right?
Yes, he is definitely an auteur filmmaker. He is a, hardcore loyalist to film, to the cinema experience, to basically, I suspect that he would not want any of his films to be watched on like a mobile device, or even on like a screen smaller than, anything that's in a normal theater, because he is a purist when it comes to films.
So we're not going to be seeing that one streaming anytime soon. So I guess we'll probably have another update next week on wherever that is. But going from there, something that is adapting to the times, and that's Comic-Con, because I know it's the 50th anniversary. It was supposed to be, obviously it's huge in San Diego, but they are kind of adapting to this. Can you walk us through like what's going on with them?
Well, after initially canceling Comic-Con entirely, and now they've brought it back in a different form. It's entirely virtual this year. It's a 5-day event. They're going to have over 350 different events going on, but all virtual via Zoom, YouTube, things like that. They're going to bring in, creators from films, TV shows, comics, all that sort of stuff, and just be doing an entirely virtual event. Anybody can tune in from the comfort of their home, which I think is a real plus, having waited in the really long San Diego Comic-Con lines in the summer. So yeah, that's going on. There's some really big panels starting today, particularly Star Trek is coming, season 2 of The Boys as well as today. And then over the weekend, next couple of days, they have things like The Walking Dead, as well as Bill and Ted Face the Music.
And the Bill and Ted Face the Music one, that I know there were some details about that too that came out. Something about how it's going to be, how they're going to handle the release.
Yeah, so as of this morning, actually, they announced that Bill and Ted Face the Music, the long-awaited, third film in the Bill and Ted franchise, will be going both streaming on-demand format as well as theatrical release on September 1st. So sort of a same-day release, both in theaters wherever theaters are open, and streaming. So for anyone who wants to sort of rent it, via the video on demand, that's going to be an option too, which I think is a really smart move. Theaters are, in a very uncertain place right now, and I think studios are starting to warm to this on-demand way of delivering films, because they've seen it have some success with some of the movies that were intended to get theatrical releases but went on demand. So I think this is great because, you don't need to risk your life to go to the theater. Now you can see Bill and Ted, in the comfort of your own home, which is very excellent.
Right? Oh, nice. That was fantastic. I mean, we could all use some Bill and Ted right now. I mean, come on, that is exactly what the world needs, in my opinion. I don't care even if this movie is good or not. I'm still going to enjoy it. I've just made up my mind on that. So, Bill and Ted Face the Music, September. Going from there, though, things that we can stream now at home.
Yeah, so there's a couple of decent things to stream coming up over the next couple of days, over the next week. For instance, Rogue Trip. It's a new series that's debuting on Disney+. It's debuting on Disney Plus at a time when travel is very restricted for a whole lot of people around the world. It's a series basically with Bob Woodruff, the war correspondent, an ABC correspondent, longtime journalist, and his son. They travel around the world and sort of go to places that people maybe write off when they're doing their normal tourism. And So you get this sort of perspective on places that maybe people are afraid to go to or people don't think of as a typical tourist destination. And it's a really special series because Bob was wounded years ago. Very famously, he was wounded in Iraq. And one of the themes of the show is the fact that he doesn't want people to be scared to travel. He doesn't want people to be scared to go to some of these places. So he and his son sort of experience the local culture and all these great elements of the area and bring it to us at a time when we can't really get out of our houses all that often.
I love these kinds of shows during any time, but yeah, you're right. Like right now, that's also just a great opportunity. But these things where they, go places that most people don't think of. There's a bunch of these kinds of shows that are out now, and this is certainly one I'm going to be checking out. So Rogue Trip, there we go. That's a great one. And then there's some other things too that we've got.
Season 10 of Shameless. Season 10 of Shameless is hitting Netflix. That's a big deal because this is the penultimate season of the series. The Showtime series is the longest running scripted series on Showtime. It's got a huge fan following, follows a dysfunctional family that really just can't seem to get out of their own way, doing terrible things all the time, one more terrible than the next. But you can't not watch it. And so, season 10 comes out on Netflix, is arriving on Netflix, and season 11 will be the last one. We're not sure when that's coming out because it got held up due to the pandemic. So if you need to get caught up with Shameless, this is your opportunity on Netflix.
And it's so funny, right before we just had you on here for this segment, we just interviewed Jeremy Allen White, Lip from Shameless. So that's up for people to take a look at, too, for one of his movies. Shameless, season 10. Out on Netflix, July 26th. And then we've got something else from Amazon as well.
Yes, Jim Gaffigan's latest stand-up special, Jim Gaffigan, The Pale Tourist. Jim Gaffigan is one of those comedians who manages to not go raunchy and that sort of thing, and he's made quite a name for himself as one of the most successful comedians in the entire world. I honestly didn't even realize that he was one of the highest-grossing comedians in the entire world. That came as a shock to me, but he's won an Emmy. He's won Grammys. He's a New York Times best-selling author. And now his next special goes to Amazon, and it's a really unique format for him. In it, harkening back to what we were just talking about, he traveled around the world. And this whole special is made up of segments from him traveling to different countries, experiencing sort of local culture, meeting with people there. And then later on, he performed a stand-up special in that country, sort of based on his experiences. And this is made up of the segments from all of these stand-up specials in this huge Pale tour that he did. And, it's a really different kind of special for him that I'm really curious to find out about.
Yeah, I already love that idea, too. These are some great recommendations that we've got here, which is why Real News is always awesome. Rick Marshall keeps us up to date with what's going on in entertainment and gets us these recommendations of things to watch. I've already got like 3 things off of this list now that I'm going to be checking out. But Rick, as always, people can go to digitaltrends.com and take a look at all of the breaking news, everything that's going on with movies and entertainment that you keep us up to date with. And I will talk to you next week.
All right, talk to you then.